Hi Flosstube, welcome to my first ever Flosstube. My name's Nittynat Stitches, Natalie. I'm a cross stitcher and this video is about cross stitching, my own personal cross stitching journey. I'm going to have a chat about what I've been working on and what my plans are. So welcome everybody here, and while we're here and I'm welcoming you to my stitchy place, I would also like to acknowledge that we are here in my room, and where we are is on Wangal country of the Eora Nation. I would like to acknowledge any traditional custodians of the land and welcome anybody of Aboriginal or Torres Strait heritage that might be watching with us today. A little bit about me. As I said, I'm Natalie, Nittynat Stitches. I live in Sydney. Wangal country is an area of the inner western part of Sydney, between the city and Parramatta. I am an environmental scientist and I have a deep love of Australian native flora and fauna, as well as our very rich Indigenous cultural heritage that we have here. I am not an Aboriginal person, but my family have lived in Australia for quite a long time. I have 2 children and a dog and a husband. My children are entering teenage years and it's just fantastic. I love it. They're great kids to be a parent of, and they are learning to enjoy stitching, but at the moment it's all about computer games and socialization when they can get the opportunity to do that. Now that school is back, they're really enjoying having their friends around. I'm also a musician. I have learned the violin. I was taught the violin from a very young age, and I also sing when I can. I'm a soprano with the Sydney Philharmonia choirs, and when we're able to perform, we perform at the Sydney Opera House, which is such a tremendous privilege. I love it very much. And I also live on a street where it seems like half the time, half of Sydney decides to go past right when I thought it would be the quietest part of the day. I'm also a cross stitcher, which is why I'm speaking to you now. I have been stitching since my mother taught me when I was about 12. Like many floss tubers, I've taken a break for whatever reasons happens to work. I just put it down and I didn't pick it up again for a long time. I stitched for a bit when I was pregnant with my first child 13 years ago, and then I did a bit when I was waiting for second born to come along, and then I put it down for a very long time. And then in the last 2 years, I picked up my cross stitch and slowly got back into it. The world of Etsy opened up to me and found some wonderful charts there. And then a friend invited me into a Facebook cross-stitching group, an Australian-based one with lots of wonderful people in that. And I haven't looked back. I'm now a member of a number of challenge groups, School of Magical Stitches, Semi-Sane Stitches. There's nothing sane about it or even semi-sane about it. It's completely insane. And also part of a closed group run by Melanie Watkins, the soulful stitcher, called What Whip. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm just going to reset the camera. There, that seems to be a bit better. Okay, so you've heard about me, a little bit of my background. I'm not going to do a whip parade. You'll see my whips as time goes by. I've got maybe 25. I haven't really counted. That's terrible, isn't it? Yeah. I used to be a monogamous stitcher, and thanks to School of Magical Stitches, I've just seen so many great things and have started stitching so many great projects, and I love them all. I love them all equally. I like children, and it's really good to be stitching again on so many different things. If I'm getting tired of one thing, well, then I'll pick up another project. I don't tend to stitch samplers. I think they're beautiful. I don't think they're for me. I'm currently stitching the Linen and Threads 2020 stitch along. I'm enjoying parts of it, but there's something about the Quaker style that it's just not gelling with me. I really like modern stitches and modern interpretations of older styles. So you'll see some of those things as we get along. So let's talk about what I've finished recently. I did a big stitch. I actually commissioned some charts from Enchanted X Needle on Etsy. Please do look her up. She created some really lovely nameplates for my two nieces and my nephew, who are very young. So the children of my sister and my brother. And I finished one in December and took it down to my family home, which is in country Victoria, a good 12 hours drive away, and presented it to my 4-year-old, my niece, who was not yet 4. No, she'd just turned 4. And I wasn't sure how I was going to finish it, and I was going to see what reaction I had as to how I should finish it. Should I put it on a pillow where she could have a hands-on appreciation of the stitches, or should I put it in a frame, potentially behind glass? Her first reaction was, "Can I draw on it?" And I can hear you all going, and that's exactly what I did. And I said, "No, you can't draw on it." So that from then on, it was always going to be behind a frame. So it sat at my mum's place, waiting for a decision on what to do about a frame. And I was down with my mother about 2 weeks ago, and we took it into a framer's locally, and they've got lots of experience in stretching canvases and mounting cross-stitch works and embroidery works. And yeah, she did a wonderful job. I'm going to, because I don't have that picture here with me, the fully finished object here with me now, I'm going to insert a picture. And the little hands around the edge is my niece, who is just so thrilled about it. So I'm inserting that here. Other finishes. I participated in Maynia, and as I mentioned before, I'm part of the What Whip closed Facebook group, and the condition of membership to that is that we celebrate, we're committed to working on and finishing and fully finishing, working on and finishing 4 projects. I think that's right. And fully finishing, I think, at least 1. I'll have to check the rules. anyhow, in Maynia, I've finished 2 projects already that were on my commitment list, and I finished another in Maynia. So one of the challenges, tasks in Maynia for the What Wit group was to work on one project for a minimum of 18 days. I didn't, but I finished this. This is part 1 of a triptych called Elgol by Thistle Stitches. So this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. And I will be stitching it into 3 parts. So here we are. That's what it is. That's the first one, this one here. And it's stitched on, it was a kit. It was a gift to me from my then fiance, now my husband, for Christmas in 2004. And I started it then, and I put it down for a good 15 years. So I finished the first part. I don't know when I'm going to pick up the second, but I will. I will pick it up. I'll do it. I will, I promise. But yeah, by the end of it, I was really tired of all the pink and purple. I know some people love pink and purple. I do too. I love it. But I'm so tired of it. All right, so that was that one. So, and then Maynia. I had 5 starts for Maynia. I was starting on the 1st of May and every Friday. And there were 5 Fridays. So that was great. So the first project I started was Anzac. Anzac by Long Dog Samplery. And I am stitching this on 28 count splice even weave. And the top half, there we go, you can see what I've done there. I started it. It's a 28 count even weave called Splice which was part of a mystery fabric by the Sassy Devils mystery packs. They're a subscription pack which is primarily for Australian and New Zealand subscribers. So I'm one. I'm stitching with Silks for You PR159. Sorry, I'm making a little noise so that I can get my silk. Just this one. It's so yummy. Beautiful coral colour. It's, yeah, that's about the true colour there. And it's so lovely. I've never stitched with silk before. I love it. I love it. Why was this such a secret? So it was stitch number 1. Number 2 was, and 2 and 3 were the Anna Barbara freebies that are available through her Anna Barbara Designs Instagram link tree. Please look it up. There are so many beautiful things. So the first one was a start and a finish in the 1 week. So this is the Key by Barbara Anna Designs freebie. Just let you ogle the beauteousness of this gorgeous little goose. Sorry, it's not pressed. I think I need to backstitch around the head. She stitched on 28 count Speckled Egg, which is an even weave, again from the Sassy Devils pouch. So that was start 2 and another finish. Then start number 3 on the same fabric, because they're going to be a pair, is Light. Now this is also joining in with the Fox in a Dress Sal. the stitch along. And I worked on this for 7 days as well. So 7 days, started and finished, and 7 days. Fox in a Dress is bigger. She is bigger by a good 2,000 stitches, I think. And both of those charts will work on PatternKeeper. If you haven't got PatternKeeper, please get it. It's a game changer. Love it, love it, love it. The next start was Iris. Iris is an out of print design, and I've forgotten to get the picture of what it's going to look like, so I'll insert that here. And here she is. Yep, that's the right way up. So we've got some arms, the start of her skirt, and there's this beautiful garland. So she's an out of print chart by Karen Weaver, Black Swans Designs. And I'm stitching this on, it looks like a 32 count linen. And this was custom dyed for me by my friend Lisa Lane from Paddock Lane Designs. So she does some really lovely bright cross-stitch designs, and she also does fabric dyeing, and it's just so beautiful. You can find Lisa on Etsy. And yeah, so that was 7 days stitching on that. It's not a lot. People do more, but I'm really happy with that. I think I just felt so happy stitching this. Such lovely colours. I love the bright colours. And my last start for Maynia was my first ever Mirabilia. I'm doing it as a stitch along with Belinda Aussie Stitches, with Sarah, who is Sarah, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of your Flosstube. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to put it in big writing here or here somewhere, because memory like a sieve. I'm so sorry. And we are stitching together Shakespeare's Fairies by Mirabilia. So this is what I've got done. Sarah and I both started with this ball, and Sarah's done a little bit. She's kind of come down this way, and I went up, and there's only a tiny bit of her hair that's still missing, and then I've got the rest of her skirt to go. I needed to get some blue and pink and green stitches done for some challenges, and then I needed to get some brown stitches done for another challenge in semi-sane stitches. And so yeah, that's why it's kind of a bit piecemeal. I don't like stitching that way, but that's okay. This chart copes with things being stitched in chunks, so it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So those were my Maynia starts, and two finishes. Other things I've been working on. I really want to finish some stuff for the second half of the year, so I'm really wanting to progress some of my big charts, some of my big patterns, and I want to finish some of the smaller ones. So I've got some really cute little ones. Another Anna Barbara that I've been working on is this one, I Give You My Heart. It's not a freebie. And yeah, I just fell in love with her hair. It's not the called for colours. I've done a little bit of shifting around with the colours. I thought that she looked a bit too pale for for my liking. So I've warmed up her skin tone, and I've also warmed up her hair color a bit too. So, but I love it. I love it. It's just such a lovely, happy thing to stitch on. The other is the Scent of Lilies by Gera. This is being stitched on, I think it's a 40 count linen. It's really small. And if you have a look at Lisa from Pattern Designs, she is also stitching on the same fabric. She's doing Anzac on this fabric, and this is an offcut from hers, and she sent it through to me. But yeah, this is it's based on a story, a Japanese story about a schoolgirl and a day that she experiences. Yeah, part of that is reflecting on the scent of lilies, and so there's a huge Asiatic lily that gets put up here, and I love Asiatic lilies. They're my favorite. I love the smell. I love the fragrance. It's people can find it really very overwhelming, but I love it. I love it. So, but that wasn't all that I worked on. I have a big project, a long-term project, and we wanted something that would work well in our house with the sorts of things that we like, and a bit of a tip of the hat to our life in Scotland. Oh, it's big. And so I purchased on Etsy a high quality, high resolution image of a vintage travel poster. I checked all of the copyright aspects, because the poster was published as commonly available. I then ran it through Pictopat, the free online software, and it made a chart for me that I could then put into PatternKeeper. And this is where I started stitching this at the start of the year, and this is where I'm up to. I'm going to need a bigger chair as I come along. So I didn't touch this at all during May. I missed it a lot, and so I've been working on it quite a fair bit since then. I've probably put in 1,000 stitches in the last week, which, given that there's a lot of confetti, especially around the letters, it goes slow. I park. I prefer to park, and that way I don't have ninja stitches, and I'm happier that way. But it's really slow. It's slow going. I've got other full coverage projects, which you will see later, where I don't park and stitch quite like that. But that's all right. All right, so where am I up to? Sorry, I just had an interruption. Bread was finished baking. Yeah, I baked bread. How funny is that? I never thought I would. So, plans. I'm waiting for the prompts from the challenge groups. I'm going to be stitching LNER. Also, light. I could do some more of that. Well, no, I can't. Yes, I can. Light. That's the fox in a dress, so I can do that one. I've also got another Haid, Heaven and Earth design. London, Life is an Open Book. London. I love that. I might do some work on that, maybe. And then I want to work on some of the smalls again. So I Give You My Heart, Scent of Lilies. And also I want to get back to stitching on the nameplate for my other niece, Zoe. So it'll look, well, just with the exception of the spelling, it'll look just like Kate's that I showed right back at the start with my fully finished object. What else am I planning on doing? Maybe working on some of my stitch-alongs that I'm now really behind on. So I've got the Bloom and Grow by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I'm now 2 months behind, and 2 months behind on the linen and threads one as well. I really need to get those going. And I've got 2 new starts planned for June. And so I spent yesterday getting ready for those. So pulling threads and organising fabric. I'm not going to talk about the fabrics and the floss until I've got it there. And there's nothing terribly special about either the fabric or the floss for the 2 that I'm starting. First one is Sleeping Bee by the Blue Flower. This is my birthday start. I'm having my birthday coming up towards the end of June. This is a stitch along with the Virtual Stitches group, but you're welcome to join in. Let me know if you are stitching along. I'd love to be able to follow you on Instagram, perhaps. Starting on June 22, but June 22 Australian time. So if you're in the United States, you're 17 hours behind. So it'll be June 21 for you. I'm starting on my birthday, which is on the 22nd of June Australian time. I'm taking the day off work, so I'm going to start then. So hooray! And then because it's a leap year, Virtual Stitches does a start on the 29th of every month. And this July, I am starting my first Teresa Wensler. And I'm doing this Peacock Elegance. And so I've got all of the threads and the fabric ready for that. Nothing fancy about that. Called for colours. Stitching it on Aida, 18 count Aida. I'm really looking forward to it, but oh my gosh, how many blended threads are there? Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me. There's been a few little interruptions, but hopefully nothing too bad. The traffic is still there. It's not too bad. At least there's no aeroplanes this afternoon, which is nice. I live under the flight path, so all good. Have a lovely week. Stay safe. Maintain your social distancing, because that is what is going to help get us all circulating back into the community faster. Love your family. Give them all big cuddles, because they're all precious. And I will speak to you next time.